Hello, salutations, and greetings, you beautiful misfits out there in internet land. Welcome back to another episode of Tavern Talk. I am your host, DJ, and I'm joined by my co-host, Brendan.
What's going on?
How you doing, sir?
I am Brendan. I'm doing great.
How's everybody doing out there? How's your mama? Hope she's doing well. On today's episode of Tavern Talk, for those that are tuning into a Tavern Talk for the very first time, Brandon and I created this concept of a more casual, more intimate talking segment where we can actually talk a little bit more in depth about things that we might or might not have been able to say on a podcast, because on our actual podcast, the NoSkill podcast, go check it out. You have 4 or 5 rowdy degenerates all wanting to talk and say things at the exact same time. So there's a lot of things that we either couldn't talk about because we didn't have time, or we didn't get a chance to say or articulate properly since you have 5 people talking all at once. So this is just more of a casual, 1 or 2 of us just having a hangout, having a couple of brewskis, why not? But on today's episode of the Tavern Talk, as of this recording, we want to talk about the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 beta that just ended as of this recording.
Yeah.
And we want to give our thoughts and opinions on it, on how the gameplay was, how it compares to other Call of Duties, whether you only played the beta or how we feel like it might do in a professional scene, because I know the pros were grinding it. I know the exploiters were grinding it, and I want us to say our opinions here on this little board right here. So I'll go first. I will say this much. My opinion might not weigh too much, all because I didn't really have a chance to play it all that much. All because Activision screwed me. So I pre-ordered the game, right? And they did not send me the code to download it 2 days before it drops for all platforms. So I did not get to play for the first 2 days. And then the day that it did come out and I could just download it from the store, we played maybe 5 games of TDM and then 2 games of Hardpoint before I had to go, because the very next day I ended up going to a concert. And when I woke up the next day, it was over.
Yep.
The beta was gone. So I didn't get a chance to play it too much. Oh well. I can't wait for it to come out though, because from what I did play, I'm very, 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 very excited for. I had such a good time playing it, and it's honestly a breath of fresh air that for the first time in God knows how many years, I could actually say I was having fun playing Call of Duty. Not like I'm having fun because I'm playing with my friends, or I'm having fun because we're recording something. I was having fun playing COD. For me.
Yeah,
it was a relief. It felt nice.
Yeah, honestly, when it came to the last 3 Call of Duties, whether it be Vanguard, Cold War, even Modern Warfare 2019, I honestly played Modern Warfare 2019 a lot more than the other 2. Vanguard, obviously, there's an obvious reason why I did not play that. I didn't even buy the game. That right there is a shit show. But Cold War, I mean, it was fun for what it was. It definitely gave me the classic Call of Duty feel. It was just, how do I put it? In the great words of Blame Truth, it was boring. It was so boring. It felt like a Call of Duty, but it wasn't fun like a Call of Duty that I know of. Like, there was nothing to gain. There was no mastery challenges. The best, all you could do really is go for a camo, the dark matter, whatever, and that was buggy most of the time. And honestly, it was just boring. I didn't really have all that fun. Oh, the maps, most of the maps were pretty awful. I'll say that. They were pretty fucking awful.
I I didn't play multiplayer at all. I only stuck with the campaign, all because after watching a little bit of actual gameplay of multiplayer, I knew I would not have fun with this COD. But as a COD kid, dating back to Call of Duty 2, Big Red 1, I've played every single campaign for when it comes to Call of Duty, and I thought, you know what, maybe I can at least have some fun playing the campaign of this game, because I always think that whenever I think of the multiplayer, the campaign for Call of Duty, for some reason, it's just me personally, I'm not speaking for every person that's played COD ever, but me personally, the campaign is always so gripping to me, from the Mason saga on Treyarch's side to Captain Price and whoever the fuck else he's hanging out with, Soap or Ghost, whoever the hell have you. I thought the campaign would suffice. No, the campaign was also actually quite lackluster, because it comprised of essentially 5 or 6 main missions and then 2 side quests that they said were optional. But the one thing that I can't stand is, if you don't do them, you get a different ending. And also, there's points where they kind of made you have to do them, and these weren't just like, oh yeah, go over here and kill this guy. You had to do some homework for one of them. Like, you actually had to break out the old pen and paper and calculator and start actually deducing shit. Like, okay, who was at this location? Who was at this airport? Who was here to do what? I'm like, I don't want to do this, dude. Let me get back to the whole shooty pew pew. Let me go throw some grenades at people. Damn, why you got me thinking like this?
Yeah, they definitely
That's not why I'm
padded
playing
out
COD.
the campaign. They didn't do a lot of missions, they just padded it out with other shit.
Hi there, DJ here. I apologize for the interruption, but I really do hope you are enjoying the content. I just wanted to take a few moments to bring awareness to you, our audience, and our community about Diamond Blackfan Anemia, a blood disorder that is slowly on the rise, and we want to do our part to put a stop to it in its tracks. So if you can, it'd be greatly appreciated if you can visit the website in the link in the description down below. Thank you very much for listening, and thank you for the support. Now back to the video. And so that was lackluster. And then when it came to Vanguard, I did not buy Vanguard until roughly, I'd say, last month, just to play the campaign. This campaign, a little bit better. I actually did enjoy this campaign a little bit, because it was different. They gave each of your characters, think Grand Theft Auto 5, they gave each of the characters some sort of unique ability that sets them apart from the others that you're going to be using. And so I'm like, okay, this is fine.
Now, between the two of us, I'm mostly on the opposite spectrum. Sure, I do play a campaign like maybe once in every Call of Duty, but I'm mostly there for the multiplayer. Multiplayer is usually the first thing I touch before anything else.
Oh yeah.
And shit, and sometimes I would go like a whole month or so before I even touched the campaign of a Call of Duty. Multiplayer is my bread and butter. I've always played it before everything else. And when it came to Cold War, I stopped after maybe 2 weeks of playing, and Vanguard I never bought. I knew it was trash from the get-go. Everyone knows it's trash except for the people that don't know any better. But this Modern Warfare, it is obviously, and it's supposed to be, a sequel to 2019 Modern Warfare. And it is obvious, it plays like Modern Warfare. It looks really good. Like, the graphics are great, and I see the Infinity Ward tapped into their color palette a bit, and they actually have vibrant maps. The maps look gorgeous, and honestly, they play a lot better compared to like the last Modern Warfare games beta maps, because we don't have access to all the maps. But from what I can tell, compared to the last Modern Warfare beta, this is a way better experience with the maps. But we'll get into the negatives. But right now, I just want to talk about the positives of what we liked. Maps, great. They look good. They play good. Obviously, we enjoyed them. But, DJ, what do you think about the maps? The ones that you did get to play?
I thought the maps were very well designed, but also in classic COD fashion. This is one of those. It's not on the fault of the developer or Activision. It's on fault of the player base. The beta has been out. When I played it, the beta had been out for 3 days, and the fact that no matter what game we were playing, whether it be TDM or Dom or Hardpoint, they had already in 3 days a bunch of these nerds had memorized the spawns and knew how to hold them. For a couple of games when we were playing Hardpoint, I could maybe get I'd clock it at 10 steps away from spawn before I get shot again. But what I wasn't getting murdered next to immediately, the gunplay felt great. I mean, I still hate the fact that it's, again, this is just me. I still don't care for the whole kit your gun out with the best equipment that'll make it affect the gun. I know it's like a more in-depth shade to Black Ops 2's Pick 10. But the fact that all these options, I put on one optic and all of a sudden my recoil was out of control. I put on one barrel and now I put on one muzzle and now I don't have the best damage in the world. Like I put on a suppressor on the M4 and I couldn't kill shit. The damage was so falling off.
So you're not a fan of the gunsmith, basically.
No, I miss old school COD like MW. Here's how I'll distinguish it. When I'm talking about the new COD, I'll say MW2 new, and if I'm talking about old one, I'll just call it MW 2009.
Yeah, sure.
Nifty little play on. Compared to like MW 2009 and MW3, which is honestly personally my favorite COD. Whereas, all right, pick a gun. Okay. Pick a color. Okay. You want a silencer? No. You want an optic? Red dot. All right, get out there. It was simple. Now with all these, if you put on this attachment, it gives you these perks, but also gives you these cons. So, so you put on this this attachment here, and it gives you faster ADS, but now your hip fire spread is fucked. Or you put on this optic, and it increases your aim down sight speed, but on the downside, its damage fall off at range somehow. Don't know how that makes sense, but we move.
Okay, so
I'm not one.
Oh, go ahead.
And I'm not one to follow. I'm nothing against like the pro scene, whether you're a professional Call of Duty player or you're just a Call of Duty content creator / streamer. But I was listening to Swag and Tim the Tap Man. Shout out to you too, by the way. And Swag was telling Tim how to kit out some gun. He was just like, "Oh yeah, put on this blah, 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 type of grip, and it'll give you the blah, 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 but on the downside it'll." Blah, blah, blah. I lost interest after 4 seconds of hearing it, and I went, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna go wing it." And just winging it, I had the time of my life playing it.
So, I do understand where you're coming from, and I do have similar gripes with the gunsmith. I will say that this is a better version than what we had in Modern Warfare 2019, and definitely better than Vanguard. Vanguard was a hot mess. Literally, you can kit out your fucking gun with like 10 attachments. It was stupid, but they definitely did better. I feel that some of the attachments had maybe too many cons compared to the pros, and I feel that some attachments could be tweaked a bit, and it sucks that we weren't able to get that many attachments in the beta because they didn't allow us to. Some of the guns were locked away, so it's like we could have put in some good feedback with attachments, but there wasn't much to begin with, so that kind of just fell off a bit. And we're probably going to be seeing a lot of imbalanced guns in the full release. There's definitely going to be a meta. We already saw the MP5, or sorry, Lockman, whatever. It's an MP5. It's already better than most of the guns, or all the guns in the beta. We already know that. People were using that shit left and right. But
my only thing that I just real quick, just to interject here. The only thing that I don't want this to turn into, because again, I still love COD, even though the last the last couple CODs have been, kind of lackluster for me. I don't want this, especially with gunsmith mechanics, to turn into how it was with COD 2019, especially in the whole Warzone scene of like, okay, well, hold on 1 second, excuse me. Sorry about that. This gun is overpowered. Now we just need to nerf it into the ground to where it's useless. All right, now next gun that's overpowered, and now everybody's going to use it, and then everybody's going to complain about it, and then we're going to nerf into the ground to where it's useless, and now we move on to the next gun, because then you're just going to go through the entire line of guns until they're all fucking useless, and then it's going to turn into, well, now this game isn't fun anymore because there's no mechanics that can make it super overpowered for us to win.
I think with that,
it's called get good.
I think with that, it kind of preaches to the choir a bit, because that's going to happen regardless. There is always going to be the best gun. Like in the beta, I just said, like the MP5 was the best gun in the beta, and you saw people using it all the whole time. Then in the full game comes out, there's probably going to be even a better gun than MP5. We don't know. There's always going to be the meta gun, and because of how gamers are, that's what they're going to use, and that's all they're going to use until either it's nerfed or there's something better comes out. And with how quick the TTK is, honestly, with how fast the TTK is, I don't really see it being too much of an issue, because with how the TTK is, every gun can be usable. It's so fast. You die so damn fast in this game. It's just, there's not going to be too much of an issue with meta guns. All you'll probably see is meta attachments or meta builds, like there was in Warzone. The attachments you would
that's
want
what I was getting towards.
Yeah, but that's unavoidable.
Instead of nerfing the attachments, they would just nerf the gun as a whole. Like, no, don't nerf the entire gun. The gun's fine. That's why I never went with builds. Any build that I had in Warzone was from a bundle that I bought, all because I thought the paint was cool. But I didn't touch any of the things on it. I just got good with the gun that was in my hand. I got familiar with the weapon and its recoil patterns, both horizontal and vertical. I got familiar with the weapon. I didn't build the weapon to be good. I built myself to be good with the weapon.
And that's that's understandable too. But it's like with how the gunsmith works, and this is why I always say I prefer pick 10 that we had back in like Call of Black Ops 2. I always will prefer pick 10 over this, because that is unavoidable. There's always going to be the meta build, and whether you use the meta build or not, it doesn't really matter, because it's going to be there. And sure, when I make my loadouts, I want it to be the best that I can make. I don't follow meta builds, but I'll follow what I think is best for myself, what I like.
Oh yeah.
And that went towards Warzone, and what really sucks is that with, I know they're gonna do it again, but when it comes to bundles, and I'm gonna do my damnedest not to spend any money in the shop, best you fucking believe. I'm avoid that bitch. But
it better be either a reactive, reflective, or pink to get my attention.
You already know what I go towards, but anyways, if it's nothing too extravagant, or even just, I don't know, how can I put this? I miss Black Ops 4, to where those weapon like skins or Mark IIs or whatever would actually, if you change the attachments, those attachments would also have that scheme or color scheme or camo or whatever. But with these bundles, you cannot change anything, or else you'll be losing the look of the gun. And that's what pisses me off, because a lot of these bundles have shit attachments, and I know they do it on purpose. And so these guns will have shit attachments, they'll be shitty to play with. And so when you go to the gunsmith and you want to change up the attachments, you're going to basically lose the look of the gun, and it'll look like hot garbage. and that's why I
luckily for me,
missed what they did with Black Ops 4.
Oh yeah. Right, luckily for me, I don't really care what the gun looks like because I'm just gonna play it. It's just every now and again I'll want to inspect the gun, and I'll just be like, yeah, look at that shit, fucking, all right, let's go murder. But that's just me. But back to actual gameplay before we start going into cosmetics that haven't even been introduced yet. I did notice that when we were playing, the big three, I wish I could do three, but my hands don't work. But the big three that I kept on seeing upon death, if it wasn't an M4, it was the Ep5 or a Lockman or whatever. And if it wasn't that, it was that sniper that you were using, the Lockwood.
Yeah, basically
I saw
M2
so
carbine.
many of those guns. I saw many of those guns on the ground when people were dying, and I'm like, what in the shit? This is what everybody's using? So then there's me. I try my best to avoid what everybody else is.
To be fair, that's basically what we had in the beta. There was LMGs, which were garbage. There was the Lynx sniper rifle, which is good. It was just really slow, so a lot of people gravitated towards the Lockwood or the MK2 carbine.
I got a couple collaterals with it.
It is a good gun, but it is definitely slow, and it sucks that we weren't able to unlock attachments for the Lynx or the Lockwood. I don't know why they did that. So we don't know what the true potential is for the sniper rifle. We don't know what you can do with the Lockwood, and I think you were able to get the PSG sniper rifle, which is a nice sniper rifle from Black Ops 1, if you guys remember, a good old classic.
Yep.
Semi-auto, but only way you're able to unlock it was using a shitty battle rifle, the same battle rifle you would use to unlock the MP5. But that's if you wanted to go through that.
Guns.
Speaking
of bringing back guns, did you see what Vanguard's doing?
The EM1?
Just a little fun tidbit. They're bringing back the P2000 from MW2 and put it in Vanguard.
They already brought back the EM1 from Advanced Warfare, so I'm not surprised. The Vanguard is not a World War II shooter anymore. It's just a fucking hodgepodge, whatever the fuck they want to put in there now. It's a fucking mess. But what was I gonna?
Now I predictions because they brought in shipment for MW 2019. I have a feeling for this Modern Warfare, especially since it's MW2 the second time around.
It's definitely coming back.
I have a feeling they're going to bring... I don't know if it's going to be shipment or if it's going to be terminal. I would love to see terminal again. MW2 map on an MW2 game.
Oh, it's already... The terminal is already on the new Warzone map. I would love if they brought it back as a multiplayer map. And I already can see them bringing back shipment. I can maybe see them doing Rust again. I don't know. I want them to bring back High Rise so bad. But Terminal and High Rise are my two big ones that I want to see bring back. They already have Terminal and the new Warzone map. They just need to prop it into a multiplayer map. But what was I going to say? They didn't provide us with a lot of choices in the beta. So you see a lot of people using the same guns or whatever. Some of the guns, like I said, the sniper rifles, the marksman rifles, you couldn't even unlock attachments. So we don't know how good they can be or how bad they will be. We don't know. And even a receiver, or for the M4 platform, the one that you would unlock the M16. The M16 was hot garbage. Oh my god, that was awful to use. But the Hurricane was nice. I like the Hurricane. I've always been a more SMG user than an assault rifle guy, so the Hurricane's nice. I liked it. I
don't have really a type of weapon. I don't really have a type of weapon that I excel with. I just pick up stuff and then I use it until I get good with it.
If you want to say excel,
because
then I'm gonna just say sniper rifles, but that's obvious for me.
Oh yeah, but I'm just simply saying. I know, especially when it comes to like the pro leagues where you have your main dominant AR, your two dominant SMGs, and then you have a flex player whom Well, especially with this last COD, their main secondary was some form of sniper rifle, which was actually really nice. I will give that much when it comes to Vanguard, the pro scene. It was nice to actually see a sniper get used again. It was very nice to see. Dashy was surgical with that damn thing.
Didn't they GM it for a while, but then they're like, let it in.
They didn't want to end for, I want to say, the first segment of the pro scene, but then after I think it was the first major, they said, "Yep, fuck it, dude, go ham, just go ham, fuck it."
I want to see that come back. I want to see them using sniper rifles for this COD too, because I feel that the sniper rifles are going to be fun. I want to see what I've seen one in the trailers. I've seen one in the trailers. I don't know what it is. It looked almost like an MSR, and if it is, or if there's an intervention, I'm gonna lose my shit. You know that. I love me some sniper rifles, my guy.
Especially with this roster shakeup, I have to go back and check what the finalized rosters are gonna be. Because I know the teams are now officially with each other, or at least about to be. But some of the changes that I saw were crazy. Something as simple as, Arcades is no longer with FaZe, which he was their team captain and probably the one that kept the morale down because he was able to keep the Tiny Terrors under control. And him and Celian were, for the most part, best friends on that team. And now you just separated it. I haven't done too much research into the guy that they have replacing him, but you lost a gem by doing that. Optic, I'm pretty sure, is the only team that stayed the same.
They pulled an Optic. I want to say that they pulled an Optic, and because Arcades was originally on their MW 2019 roster, they got rid of him, and then all of a sudden, FaZe goes on a freaking winning spree when they got him onto the team. Whoever gets Arcades is guaranteed a very good roster.
And I think he might be going to the to Surge. I think he might be with his brother. He might be with Prestini somewhere. But I remember he was on Optic, and then when Hex sold Optic name, then Dashy stayed on Optic because he was like, "I'm Optic till the day I die, hoorah!" But then Arcades went over to Huntsman, which was Optic.
Yeah,
it was Optic.
It was Optic.
Then when Hex buys Optic back, he basically broke the contract for everybody that was on Huntsman outside of, I believe, Scump, because everybody else was still on Optic. I believe Formal was on. It was like Formal and Dashy were still on Optic. Was Dylan on Optic or Huntsman? Because I know he was on one of the two.
Dylan was Huntsman.
Okay, so then he brought back Envoy and Scump. Before we get too far into the pro scene, by the way, I cannot wait for this. The one thing when it comes to Call of Duty and these pro players, stop fining them for having an opinion. They're already going to play the fucking game because they have to, and now you're telling them, hey, by the way, you can't say our game sucks. Let them say it sucks and they think it sucks. Do you know how many people in the pro scene, not naming any names, Scump, how many times Scump got fined for saying he didn't like the game?
So many times. Crim 6 is another one that's been vocal. So is Clayster. I mean, there are a lot of pro players that hated Vanguard, but they had to play because that's their job. Shit, there's even concern.
Vanguard and Cold War is the ones I heard the most about.
Yeah, those two specifically. Now, when it comes to MW2, I don't want to get too far into the pro scene because we're here to talk about the game in general. But I want to say I see the eyebrows raising because a lot of pro players are not liking the thought of having to play the same game for 2 years in a row. And that's what's going to happen, though I'm curious of what Infinity Ward is going to do for that second year in terms of content. Because if they are light on content for the first year, that's an issue. People are going to lose interest, and then the game is going to die out the second year. So they need to bring out that content.
Especially, and not just cosmetics. Like, I get it with COD, the year we had, and I said this on a podcast before, where we as COD gamers, we were spoiled in that we were getting a new game guaranteed every fucking year. This is the first time ever where we're not going to. But now that gives these devs, there's 3 of them now. So you got Sledgehammer, you got Treyarch, and you have Infinity Ward, now given an extra year to actually make something playable and not just a heap of shit. But that would mean, since you have it for 2 years, do you space out the 4 DLC? So instead of one every 4 months, one every 3 months to last a year? Or now do you increase it to, you drop 1 DLC every 6 months? Okay, if that's the case, how do you keep it fresh? Because in 6 months' time, people are going to get sick of those the DLC they dropped, unless you make a lot of maps.
Here's the thing.
A lot.
And they don't follow that formula anymore. From what we got in Vanguard, and I say we, but I didn't play it. Well, from what they did in Vanguard and in Cold War, kinda, they go off of the season thing and even the season reloaded thing, the mid season update or whatever. So my whole thing is, please don't put out 1 or even 2 maps, because I swear to God, sometimes it was just 1 map per season in Vanguard. That was awful. That
was in World War II, dude. They dropped like 1 or 2 maps.
No, World War II, there was DLC packs back then. So there was still 4 maps.
I know, but I'm saying they didn't drop nearly as many maps in the DLCs as we would have liked. Like in Black Ops 2, how many new maps were there in all the DLCs combined?
4.
A shit ton.
4 per DLC.
Oh, wasn't there a lot more than that?
No, back then it was a 4 per DLC plus a zombie map.
Yeah, well, shout out Black Ops 2.
But what I'm saying is that in these last 3 years, in each season, they would put out maybe 1 or 2 maps for multiplayer. And that's per season. That's not a lot of maps. We need definitely a lot more. And you have a huge, portfolio of maps that you can bring up from the old MW games. Like, we're talking, again, High Rise, maybe even Favela, fucking Dome. It does all kinds of crazy good maps. You can just maybe 2 remade and 2 original, if it's so hard to make 4 maps now, because I swear to God, these devs have gotten worse at making maps. But whatever. 2 per season's not gonna fly. People are gonna get sick of it and they're gonna get bored. There's obviously gonna be a battle pass, that's a given. There's obviously gonna be a lot of bundles that are probably gonna be better than anything in the battle pass. That's obvious. But
that's a given.
But seriously, we need more than 2 maps per season. People are gonna get bored. And I know that there's gonna be ground war maps, so sure, maybe at least 3 multiplayer maps, ground war map, and whatever the hell DMZ is gonna be. I know it's supposed to be like its own Escape from Tarkov kind of mode. We don't know. They haven't told us shit, and the game's gonna be out next month. We don't fucking know anything about DMZ at all. That's scary, by the way. I really wish they would have said something at least, but they haven't told us crap.
Like again, you don't want us to eat the entire cake before we've had dinner. So you want to save the ultimate for when it actually drops. But on the other side of that coin, even though I do play multiplayer, when it comes to the actual just casual side of things, especially it being technically MW2, you have so much potential for certain types of content. From i.e. the camping being great, the co-op missions. Like, I would love to, honestly, it would be so nostalgic and piss off worthy if they managed to remaster fucking Expert Run Mile High Club.
Oh my
god! From MW 2009. That would be some fun shit to do. You managed to make Spec Ops missions again like that. It would be so amazing to do it.
There is gonna be co-op, and from what they said, there's gonna be this new system called Raids, and it's basically gonna It's basically going to be like a co-op mission where a group of players go in and they try to complete it like a raid. You know Warface, that co-op stuff? and you had to go in and you had to beat like a big boss at the end of it. It's kind of gonna be like that, apparently. I don't know, but there's raids, and apparently, if you complete the mission, there's gonna be rewards at the end, and it's gonna be a raid every season. I don't know what kind of rewards there's going to be, and or if there's going to be constant rewards for multiple raid completions, or if it's just one completion and that's it. You don't get shit for doing it again. I don't know. I hope that's not the case, because that would give you even more incentive to do the raid. But I also want to say that please don't neglect the co-op mode. I know not a lot of people don't play it, but it's a fun little mode you can play with your friends if you don't want to do anything in multiplayer. And Modern Warfare 2019 co-op mode got neglected. It was one, stupid hard for no apparent reason. You really needed a 4-player group of players that know what the fuck they're doing. For most of them, they're pretty difficult, and 2, they're honestly pretty boring and very shitty. And at some point they just stopped making anything co-op in general. They just gave up on it, like maybe season 2. They just stopped doing shit.
Yeah, because it was fucking hard. Like, now don't get me wrong, I'm one for a challenge. Okay, I love having like a good challenge in a co-op thing, but it just seemed like the more people we had that we could actually communicate with, because again, as Dark said, you would need to have a co-op cohesion of 4 people whom you can communicate with and know what the hell they're doing when it comes to COD. And the further you got, they were just like, okay, so now we're gonna ramp it up. There's now 3 times the enemies everywhere, and you're also open, and there's enemies in all these buildings that all have sightlines on you, and now they all threw smoke, and they all have thermals. By the way, you want to did somebody say juggernauts? Here's 7 of them.
Oh, hey, you want a helicopter just harass you the entire time?
You guys, to where it was honestly, it felt bad. I felt bad doing it, because when it comes to anything co-op related, it's a good feeling to finish a mission with all 4 of your teammates alive. Can we agree on that?
Yeah.
It sucked that if one of your teammates went down, it was honestly easier to just fuck off.
Yeah,
and say screw it.
Most of the time, they were just surrounded by AI. There was no getting to them, and if you even try to revive, you were just gonna go down too. It's better just to fuck off.
It was easier to just go away, and then hopefully you can respawn them in the next segment if you can. And nine times out of 10, you couldn't.
But
and so that's a bit hard, especially all those maps. What?
Oh, go ahead.
I will say though, especially for the first one that we did, I'm like, okay, this is taking place technically in Verdansk, in Warzone. This is actually kind of cool. I love that little concept. Then I realized how fucking hard it is.
Yeah, I think there was the airport area. The military area.
Like right then and there, either you or me, we would spot like 2 or 3 juggernauts that were waiting at the entrance. Then there was 2 juggernauts up top by the bus transit area on top of the on-off ramp. It's like, okay, you can do the stealthily, but because of how big the map is, this is about to take forever.
Yeah, and
because you could also do the opposite.
Here's the thing. With this new game, Modern Warfare 2, there's obviously going to be a lot of content. They have made it very clear there's going to be a lot of content at launch. Now, whether they continue to pump out content for the year, we'll see. Because they need to make this shit count, like as I said. This is the only Call of Duty we're going to have for the next 2 years, so they need to make that shit count. But let's kind of get into the negatives here. I really want to talk about this because God damn it, Infinity Ward, they don't listen to shit. So, first off, and this is an important one. I'm going to stress this enough. I can't stress it fucking enough. The footsteps are loud as shit. You're walking around with cinder blocks for feet. I know they turned it down from the first weekend, the PlayStation beta, but it still was very loud and very obnoxious to the point where you as if you were the one moving around and there's an enemy listening to you, they know where the hell you are, because I'll give them this: the directional audio in this game is really good. But being that it's really good and being that the footsteps are very loud, people can literally track you uh, along the wall that they're just hearing you walk on the other side of, and they'll just wait for you to pop up around the corner, sometimes even pre-firing your ass, so you can't even react.
Like, you would think it was wall hacks. Nah, it's because you're clod hoppers.
So it's like, they don't shit. If people need wall hacks in this game, I'm gonna be fucking just embarrassed for them, because there is no need. You can literally sit in the corner and hear people walk around you, and you know exactly where they are. They don't know where you're at because you're not moving. So it's like, what's the point? That's the one thing that you told me that I'm also not looking forward to. Yeah, my playstyle, I like to rush, even with the fucking sniper rifle. I rush. I like to move around. I like to run. I like to get into the fight. I want to look for the players. I want to take them out. But if I'm going to be tracked out on the other side of a wall by some Timothy Camper-Rooney or whatever, just hearing me walk on the other side of this wall and just track me, what's the fucking point? I know these people are always like, adapt and, adapt to this. I hate this. The word for camper the Infinity Ward uses is Sentinel. Gotta adapt to the Sentinel game style. I'm like, fuck off, dude. I'm an old school Call of Duty player. I like to rush. I like to run around and get into the fight. But no, we gotta adapt. Fuck off. Fuck your adapt. I adapted in my MW19 just fine, but I still ran around and owned all you Sentinel players. But whatever.
He got big mad right there. I will say this. As we've discussed this before off camera, dude, camping is always going to be a thing. Especially, I found it so funny at the live closed beta where they invited a bunch of streamers. And COD content creators. I'm not gonna name any names, but they had a guy that has basically said, "Fuck COD, I'm only playing Apex there." Anyway, there you are. Hi. You got to see who was actually a COD kid and who just kind of got good at Warzone, because some of these people that have been in the COD scene for playing Warzone, and now they're playing multiplayer COD, and I'm like, oh, you are vastly different when the enemy is right in front of you and you don't have 30 or 400 meters to hide or do something about it. This is a different
I'm
side
sorry.
of you. This is
Do you
great.
not have your plates? Do you not have body armor? Are you dying really fast? Oh, boo-hoo. Oh, I feel so sorry for you. Did you not have
Clocky to come save you? Sorry. So sorry.
I'm sorry. Did you want a vehicle? Where's your truck? Do you not have that semi of a tank?
Before we start harping, though, that was the first thing that I noticed. Is like, okay, so now when it comes to actual COD, like actual PvP COD, some of these players are not who you think they are or as good as they claim to be. And I'm like, as a casual guy, I'm like, I could probably destroy your ass. I might be overhyping myself, probably am, but I think I might stand a chance. Yeah, motherfucker.
You definitely got to see the boys from the men in there, because goddamn, some of these Warzone players were straight cheeks, my guy. And then you got the actual COD players just running shit. It was fun to watch. I don't want to name names, but there's a certain streamer there that I'm gonna say she's a cheater. I know. You can't argue with me. She definitely cheats, but whatever.
Now, one of the big things that a lot of people had some before we start turning this into a roast session. One of the things that a lot of pro players, especially Warzone streamers, had a problem with, but a lot of people were happy that they did away with. doing away with slide canceling and replacing it with a dolphin dive and a ledge hang.
I mean, there is slide, but you can't slide cancel. That's the big difference. And I'm very glad that slide canceling is not a thing, but it also brings back. Let's see, we got bunny hops, we got jumps around corners, and we also got drop shotting back. That's a thing now. But that's all stuff that I am very used to already. I mean, I was used to the sight canceling. I played with sight canceling for 3 years now, but it's whatever.
I played with him for 8 years. I'm used to it.
I abused this man, but it's nothing that isn't too much of a big deal for me. It's whatever. I think the only thing is with
I don't care.
The only thing with it is that exclusive ace actually brought this up. The run speed or the movement speed can be a little bit faster. You definitely are moving pretty slow in this game compared to like MW 2019, and I also would say that some of the attachments for guns, specifically the ones that allow you to walk faster while aiming, I think those need to be buffed a little bit because the strafe speeds were not that fast. So the only real engagement around corners for people that are just sitting there waiting for you is just to jump around the corner. So I think the strafe speed for certain attachments could be better. At least give it another option of, instead of jumping around corners, you just strafe around the corner real quick and take them out. But it's whatever. I've played with worse, but I also want to point out a huge thing that a lot of people want to be changed. I want it to be changed. Infinity Ward doesn't want it to be changed. I want Dead Silence as a perk again.
Especially now with the footsteps here, you kind of fucking need it.
Yeah, and they have it as a fucking field upgrade. Like, what the hell, dude? You're making these footsteps so damn loud, and you get basically no option to combat that or counter it. Even if it was just an ultimate perk, give people the option between Ghost and Dead Silence, even though I swear to God, this perk system is another complaint I have. It is fucking awful. I hate. Why do we need this perk system? Why are you trying to fix something that ain't broken? The perk system has been great for over a decade. Why are you trying to change this? This whole having to wait having to wait for a perks to activate is kind of dumb, in my opinion. Yes, they decrease the time it takes, but I still feel that it just, I don't know. I don't think it was a need. I don't think it was a change that needed to happen. Basically, they're just trying to change something just so people can't say that they didn't change shit.
This is where I don't have any opinion. I was just using presets and whatever they gave me. I didn't give a shit. I was just wanted to run a gun. But before we continue down that road, the other thing that I wanted to just touch up on before we kind of just went left, the whole ledge hanging. I've managed to play around with it a little bit. My only problem with it is, from a situational standpoint, from me, I don't see a time where it would be effective for me to hang from a ledge unless I'm trying to do some sort of super secret twirl thing where I'm trying to around enemies without them seeing me.
I see them being more used for like
basically
big map modes. So like, I don't know, ground war, or even Warzone, or even DMZ. Maybe, who knows? It definitely gives option for verticality, especially for parkouring around places. Because, you know, in previous titles, if you were trying to jump across to another building or something, but you just weren't able to get that your feet there just to the edge there, you just kind of fell. In this, you can actually catch yourself and just hang on the wall and climb over. So it gives more verticality and more options for parkouring onto buildings, especially with Warzone. You know how people are. If you have another option to get up on top of a roof instead of a ladder, this could be useful. But I do like the feature. It's a nice feature. Same with the pistol swap. How you just take your rifle to the side and pull out a pistol while still holding your rifle is actually a good feature. It's an attachment for the pistol, but it also gives you a faster way to draw your pistol than having to normally swap out weapons and or reloading your main weapon. So this gives you a fast option. It's really cool. It's really nice, and I like it. It's a good addition.
So this is where I started to get lost because I had no fucking clue what the hell he was talking about.
People that know,
I didn't get
because
there.
So there's a pistol attachment that allows you to, instead of having to do the whole swap weapons out and you hold a pistol only, your character literally just takes his rifle or whatever primary he has, tucks it to the side with one hand, pulls out the pistol with the other, and that's it. And you can use your pistol. So it's like
a pistol swap, but faster.
Yeah, it's faster pistol swap, and it's faster than reloading your primary. So it's a good addition.
Swap your pistol. It's faster than reloading.
Now that shit's faster. But yeah.
Well, that sounds quite interesting. Because again, the most extent that I had was I picked up a sniper rifle called a Lynx. Didn't know what the hell it was, but the aim down sight speed was atrocious. But the first shot I got a double collat, and then I collatted another shot around the corner, which I thought was really great. And then I got to run around with the M4, which as the basic bitch that I am, I will mainly probably use the first two weapons that are given to me, and probably nothing else, because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm just shooting shit and shooting the shit. That's what DJ does. When I say I'm a numpty, because I'm not a gamer. I'm just a guy that plays games.
He is a very basic man.
But yes, I am.
Now,
probably, by the way.
Being that the footstep audio is very loud and how everything is very much louder, what is your thoughts on them taking away the dots or red dots on the minimap again?
I mean, that was such a needless thing to do, because that's what, especially for certain game modes like, I don't know, S&D, where you would want to really pick and choose what fight that you're going to take, because as soon as you pop off and you miss your shot, now for the next 3 to 5 seconds, everybody knows where the hell you are and where you are currently standing at that exact moment. And I've watched a lot of pro games to just us fucking around on S&D when we have a big group of the guys, especially on Black Ops 3, where I'm spectating. I got to be Miles for a couple of minutes. It was great. Hi Miles. But that blip, though may seem trivial for a time, because it's only 3 seconds, that is the most pinnacle and like most controversial 3 seconds of all time, because not only like your teammates are gonna know where the hell you are at all times, but now for the next 3 seconds, no matter what direction you move, your enemy now knows where you were standing at that exact second, and in that 3 seconds before that blip goes away, they know all the potential spots of where you can move to. So there essentially is no hiding. There's just buying yourself a couple seconds worth of time. And that can be very detrimental in a game of search and destroy, because especially if you're on the attacking team, you either A, need to kill everybody, or B, plant a bomb. And that defending team now knows whereabouts you are and how to hold you. So with them doing away with that, you gave attackers a huge advantage. They can pop off without repercussion. And that sucks. But I think that's where the makeup is the loud footsteps. But then again, this is COD, not Rainbow Six Siege.
Now, here's
great game, by the way. I played a lot.
Oh yeah, we love Siege. But here's my take.
Bring back the sniper mode.
I'm even going to take a couple of quick clips from Exclusive Ace and Neo Cinema, to where red dots basically one unnecessary change. I think they should bring it back. It also would help with the fastening up the pace of the game, because people start popping off with unsilenced weapons, and people would see them on the minimap, people would want to go after them and engage. But because there is no red dots, there is not much point in engaging, especially with how loud this game is, so people would rather you come to them than you go to them. So, with red dots, it's been in the Call of Duty franchise for over a decade, and there has been no complaints to it. And now, all of a sudden, the devs want to get rid of it, just like they did in MW 2019. And even back then, it was a controversial change. I still don't like that they did that, and I don't like that they're doing it for this game too. And the people being able to see you if you make a mistake or just shoot the rifle in general unsilenced can be a skill cap, because you know that if you shoot an unsilenced weapon without taking out an enemy or just shooting it willy-nilly, you already know you're going to be on the map. People are going to know who you are, so that opens up engagement. And hell, there are even instances where if you purposely shoot your weapon, you can draw in enemies. So there was either you engage and you either miss your shots and people now know where you are, or you take the enemy that you're shooting at out, but his teammates now know where you are, or B, you just shoot to draw on the enemy. And I've seen clips of this from older Call of Duty where people will just shoot a pistol or something once or twice. People know where you are and they'll come chasing you, and you just take them out, because it's like you planted the bait and they're gonna bite. So
a bait and switch.
A bait and switch, yeah. But because they took away the red dots, that also makes silencers useless, and that is a huge thing, because now you have a whole category of attachments that are not needed, because no matter what, you're not going to be shown on the map, so might as well just go loud and take the max. Use your gun at its max damage potential instead of taking the hit damage from a suppressor.
Yeah.
And that also,
at this point, a suppressor would only be.
Go ahead.
So a suppressor at this point is only going to be used for if you're really wanting to go full Sam Fisher and not have them hear you. But then that means you're going to get the illusion of, I can picture you with a suppressor crouch walking around the entire map, which it's a strat. I haven't tried it. I kind of want to now that I said it.
Like the only place a suppressor I see being used now is maybe in like one life modes like S&D, or maybe DMZ whenever that comes out. We'll see, because it's supposed to be an Escape from Tarkov kind of thing, and I can see why a suppressor would be good for that. But other than that, for fast-paced multiplayer, it is not needed now, and that also, because the suppressor is useless, that also gets rid of a whole playstyle of people wanting to run Ghost and a Dead Silence field upgrade with a suppressor. So now you're going full stealth class, and you're probably going to be that guy that's flanking around and taking out enemies on the side or whatever, like, or maybe hardpoint, for example. You're taking people around the hardpoint and not being in the hardpoint. You're basically making it the job of your teammates less difficult. And or if you're just the rusher that likes to run around and you don't want people to know where you are at all times, so you put on the suppressor and all those stealth perks, now you're getting rid of that playstyle. So I don't know.
See, that's why I think the reason why I said Rainbow Six Siege earlier, because if you're taking away the whole their blip pipes up when they're when you pop off, but now you've turned up sound to where you are. This is Call of Duty. This is why I said it's not Rainbow Six Siege. Rainbow Six Siege is a tactical game, where hence why they don't give you a mini map, where you have to rely on audio cue reliability, aka sound whoring. When I think COD, I don't think sound whoring. I think run and gun. Especially for games like, unless you're playing S&D, every other game mode, from ground war to TDM, kill confirmed, hardpoint, domination, even like in Black Ops 2, fucking sticks and stones, free for all, all or nothing. one in the chamber. It was run around and kill shit. And if I saw your blip on the minimap, I knew where I needed to be. So now that you took that away, you're making me have to rely on hearing things when, again, this is just me personally, COD isn't the game for sound whoring. It's not. It's just not. I want to run and gun. I want to, if I'm playing SND, I can have a little bit more tactical ability about me. But then again, I'm also not in Phase Clan. I'm not in 100 Thieves. I'm not in Optic. I'm never going to be. So I'm not going to try that hard. You basically turn this into a game mode of now I have to if I want to succeed. So that's my only gripe is like, you turn this into a sound whore game, and I don't want it to be a sound whore game.
Yeah, I mean, we're running out of time here, but a few quick things is that, the spawn system, which they're bringing back squad spawns again, and honestly, I don't like it. Most people don't like it. The pros hate it. Squad spawns are not that great. I wish they would stick to old classic spawns that they had back in like the older CODs, where basically one team was on the other side of the map, the other team's on the other. If you push too far into their spawn, they're gonna flip the spawn. That's a classic spawn system that I wish they would bring back. But squad spawns are here to stay, apparently. The SBMM is probably the worst it's been. There's even been cases of people who have fresh accounts that going into this beta, and they're still going against people that are very above what that account should be going against. Talking about people with 2.0s or above, and that's I'll even say with my stats and how long I've been playing Call of Duty, I was going against some really good players if I was by myself. That made every game basically a sweat fest. And when DJ was around, it was a breath of fresh air because it was mixing our elos and our stats, and I got some pretty decent players, some good, some bad. And it was a fresh breath of fresh air. But SBMM is still pretty rampant in this game. Not surprised. At this point, I don't care, but it's still around.
Oh, yeah. Like, all in all, I know we basically spent an hour just kind of bitching and complaining, which I do apologize. But especially as guys that are just very passionate about Call of Duty, and we just want to see COD excel, because especially the last like 2 or 3 or 4 games, honestly, I dated all the way back to IW. That's just me though. Where I noticed a steady decline of COD being, at least to me, as fun as it could be, compared to what we have now. So I still have faith in COD. I'm still a COD kid. I'm still always going to be a COD kid. And I'm pretty sure no matter what they do with Call of Duty, which we still have to see what Phil Spence and the other guy and the rest of the guys at the Xbox division of Microsoft are going to do with it, because they get it next year. So they might
Hopefully
pull the bunny out of the hat and turn into the game of the century, which I would be more than happy with. Granted, Elden Ring still deserves Game of the Year. And on that note, it's outro time. Woo! Yeah, outro time. A fair part of the day, not really. If you made it this far, giving us 2 grown men talking about Call of Duty, you are a real one, and I love you to pieces. And I hope your toast is perfect tomorrow. This was really fun. It was also really enlightening, and also a wee bit of a stress relief, because we managed to, talk about the gripes that we have with the upcoming COD. But I have faith in it. I'm going to be playing it day one.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for it. We got a month to wait as of this recording. So I'm going to hold out faith that COD's redemption arc is on the horizon. Maybe it's going to be with Activision while they still have it, or whether Phil Spencer takes it away and turns into the greatest game of all time once again.
Only time will tell.
For this trip. But I'm excited for this trip. Brandon, say bye to the folks.
Well, thank you for listening to grown ass men talk about a video game. But this has been Dravo. This has been my buddy DJ. Eat your vegetables.
I'm the sexy man lady.
We'll talk to you guys later.